You've done hundreds, maybe even thousands of workouts, but for some reason, you're carrying too much stubborn belly fat. Why is it? Why is it that despite all this working out and training, you don't look like you lift? Well, the good news is scientists wanted to figure out the exact same thing. Is the reason we're overweight simply because we're too lazy? So they studied 10,000 people and used one of the most accurate ways you can measure how many calories people burn. And the interesting thing is, they study people in poor third world countries who are walking upwards of 20,000 steps a day. And they also study people in developed countries with office jobs who are walking on average 5,000 to 7,000 steps a day. And here's what they measured: how much they weighed, how much muscle and fat that they had, how many calories they were consuming on a daily basis, and also their body weight. Now, the results are really interesting. Now you might think the active group should burn way more calories than that, but when the scientists checked, the results were nearly the same. So why is that? It's because your body adjusts over time to what it's conditioned to. Think of your body almost like a thermostat. And when you turn the thermostat up on the exercise, usually your body will try to save energy elsewhere. So maybe you don't walk as much, maybe you don't fidget as much throughout the day, and typically it balances out. And on the flip side, people in the richer countries, even though they move less, they burn more calories throughout the day because a heavier body burns more calories than a lighter body does. And this is called the constrained energy model, where your body essentially keeps its daily calorie burn within a narrow enough window. You cannot just simply expect to double your exercise and double the amount of calories you burn. It doesn't work like that. So despite all these differences in activity levels, it doesn't explain the huge difference in body fat levels between the poorer group and the developed countries. On average, people in the developed countries had 10 to 15% more body fat. If you were to put this down to exercise alone, okay, that might only equate to maybe a 1 or 2% difference. So where's the rest come from? Well, clearly, how much you burn is not the main reason people gain weight. You guessed it, it's because of food, and particularly ultra-processed food. In traditional groups, only 0 to 5% of the total calories they consumed every single day came from ultra-processed foods. In the developed countries, 40 to 60% of the daily calories came from ultra-processed hyper-palatable foods. So simply put, the more processed foods people ate, the more body fat they gained. Even when they accounted for their age, their gender, their activity levels, processed food had the highest impact upon your total body weight. Now here's the interesting thing. Unsurprisingly, meat didn't have a huge correlation with an increase in body weight, and neither did vegetables. The biggest driver was the amount of ultra-processed foods you were consuming. And one of the concluding points of the study is that your energy intake is 10 times more powerful than managing your body weight than your activity levels. And that is why the saying is true: you simply cannot outtrain or outrun a bad diet. Unless you're an ultra marathon runner, your fat loss is primarily going to occur in what you put into your mouth and what you do in the kitchen. Not what you do in the gym, not how many steps you walk on every single day, okay? It's primarily driven by nutrition. So why is there such a high correlation between consuming ultra-processed foods and being overweight? It's simple. Just think about it. What are ultra-processed foods devoid of? They're typically devoid of two of the most satiating nutrients, that is protein and fiber. What do they have a lot of? They typically have a lot of carbs and fats combined. So for example, if you were to eat 10 boiled potatoes, I bet you would have a hard time doing that. However, if I mash those potatoes up, put lots of butter, lots of oil, lots of milk in them, why are they so much easier to eat? It's because when you consume carbs and fats and you take out protein, you take out water, you take out fiber, that is a recipe for overeating. And just think about it too. Okay, processed foods, they don't require much chewing. They're very tasty, okay? They literally employ people who work in cigarette companies to make sure the food is as addictive as possible. Whereas whole foods, normally you have to cook them so they're not accessible. Normally you have to chew them more. You have to chew a chicken breast, you have to chew an apple, you don't just swallow it down. Whereas if you get a big bowl of ice cream, you get a big slice of cake. That is gone in 2 or 3 minutes. It's not very satiating, it's not very filling, and it will make you crave more and more and more. So that is why your food environment is crucial, okay? If a food is in your house, you've heard me say it before, sooner or later it's going to be eaten, and you have to control your food environment. If something is out of sight, it's going to be out of mind. So you might now be thinking, okay, well there's no point walking, there's no point exercising because it's primarily driven by nutrition. Absolutely not, okay? Exercise is not the best tool for weight loss, but it's amazing for retention weight management. Why is this? First of all, when you exercise more, you're more likely to maintain healthy habits. In other words, you're more likely to eat better. Secondly, exercise can actually help regulate your appetite. And most importantly, when you exercise, particularly lifting weights builds muscle. Muscle is more metabolically active than fat, meaning the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn while you rest. And if you've got more muscle mass, you've got a healthier metabolism. So, the best weight loss strategy is literally eating mostly single ingredient whole foods, reducing or eliminating ultra processed foods, having lots of protein, controlling your calorie budget, and just making sure you're exercising frequently. Use your diet as a means to control your body weight and use your exercise as a means to get fitter, to build muscle and to get stronger. And this was one thing that my client Adrian struggled with. At the age of 53, he had too much belly fat, he had too much visceral fat, despite working out 3 days a week. When we looked at his food diary, it wasn't surprising. For breakfast, he was drinking his calories every single morning, a fancy latte with a Twix bar. Okay, he would have takeaways every single week. He would occasionally drink some alcohol too. And when you make these bad choices consistently, that will just slowly add up to an increase in weight every single year. So what we did with Adrian was we implemented our Metabolic Prime Diet, a science-backed way to help you lose body fat while maintaining muscle mass, while supporting your energy and having a healthy metabolism. And inside 10 months of one-on-one coaching, he dropped 20 kilograms of body fat. He went from roughly 87 to 67 kg at the age of 53 and did a photo shoot. Now, had we got Adrian to exercise more, increase from 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, do more cardio, do more running, do more crunches, do what most people do to try to lose body fat, it wouldn't have made a huge difference, okay? You always start with your nutrition. I can run 10 kilometers, my Garmin would say I burned 750 calories. Inside 3 minutes, my 1 hour of hard work will completely be undone if I have some Oreos and cookies. So start with your diet, and if you're struggling to lose your belly fat, this is your start point. Mostly single ingredient whole foods. Have 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, make sure you've got plenty of fiber, and reduce your ultra processed foods. Back this up with exercise, resistant training at least 3 times a week, try to walk 8,000 steps a day and stay consistent. And if you do that consistently over time, your body shape, your body composition will all improve. And finally, I'm not claiming to be a know-it-all. I struggle with this too, okay? I find the 23 hours more challenging than the 1 hour. I would sometimes look at my watch and say, okay, well, it burned 1,000 calories, therefore I've earned the right to eat 1,000 calories back. It doesn't work that way, okay? That was when I was stuck. You have to first of all control your nutrition and control your diet. So if you found this helpful and you want to see more content like this, just please make sure you subscribe. If you want to see daily fitness content, message me on Instagram, Adrian_MacLifestyleFitness, and just message me YouTube Nutrition, and I'll send you over for free a copy of our Metabolic Prime Diet. And if you want one-on-one coaching, my team and I, where you get one-on-one check-ins, one-on-one support, one-on-one guidance, one-on-one personalization, and one-to-one insane results like Adrian there at the age of 53. I'll post a link in my bio to my application form to simply fill out the form, answer a couple of questions, book a call with me, and we can see if you're a fit. But that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next one.